Kia ora koutou, ko Victoria McLennan toka wingua. Welcome to Bridging the Gap, a podcast that celebrates diversity here in Aotearoa, New Zealand's digital technology industry. I'm the CEO of IT Professionals, Te Pou Hangarau Ngaio. From developers to programmers, product managers to designers, this field is filled with a wide range of individuals who bring unique perspectives and skills to their mahi. Join us as we delve into the stories and experiences of those who strive to bridge the gap and foster a more inclusive and thriving digital technology community here in Aotearoa, New Zealand.
I'm here today with the lovely Dani, who I have convinced to come along and talk to me and tell her story. Kia ora, Dani, welcome.
Hi, thanks for inviting me. Good to be here.
It's awesome. So to help people get to know you a bit, why don't you give our listeners your elevator pitch or barbecue pitch, however you just describe who you are and what you do in the digital technology space.
Sure. Yeah. So my name's Dani Wright. I'm the design lead at Catch Design in Wellington. So my focus is UX and UI design and just generally anything else that intersects with those things.
And I find UX and UI design fascinating, and I know it's an art and it's really interesting, but I know your career didn't start doing that UX and UI design, did it? So tell us a little bit about where you started and how you got to being in this space.
Yeah, that's right. So I got a Bachelor of Visual Communication Design from Massey. Of course, at the time, UX, UI design wasn't actually something that was offered in universities, so I couldn't even study it. So I started as a graphic designer. I worked in a couple of marketing roles doing marketing design. Then moved into Silverstripe, which was a design and dev agency as well as a product company, but they allowed me to make that diagonal move into the UX UI design role. So that's where I first started working with multiple different clients and working alongside developers, which is what I still do now.
And I remember you doing things with, was it appliances and stuff in your original graphic design role? It's quite different than technology, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. So my first graphic design role was selling Mitsubishi Electric products. So
that's right.
Heat pumps, fridges. And then, moving to Silverstripe, I was then trying to sell a product, which was, and sell services, which was a quite different thing to grasp because it's not so tangible. It was very different to what I do now.
Yeah, definitely. And do you still, in your role with Catch, do you still work with developers? Is it a similar kind of a model that you have there?
It is. And I actually think it might be even more well integrated at Catch just because we've got kind of a trio of people who lead a team, like the producer, the technical lead and the design lead, and we have the responsibility of always staying connected and keeping those three parts of the business together. And I also have a really great relationship with our front-end developer in Wellington. It's a small company, so I pretty much solely work with him as a front-end, so we have a really great connection now.
Oh, that's really cool. So the digital technology industry is predominantly a very male-dominated industry. There are around 25% of those who work in the industry are women. And I know in the design space, the statistics are probably slightly better. There are often more women attracted to design work. Have you had any challenges that you think you've faced because you're a woman working in the tech sector, or any examples of situations you've found yourself in that you'd like to share?
Yeah, so this is interesting for me because I think, as you kind of already noted, there are a lot more women in design roles, so the split is a bit more even. I feel as if as long as you're in the right kind of environment for a tech company, I don't think there are always going to be struggles that you face as a woman. I think I've been really lucky with the tech environments that I've been a part of, as far as always ensuring that as women, we're given outlets to connect with one another and support one another. So for me, it's actually always been reasonably positive. And I mean, for one thing, my both of my creative directors have been male, so that's kind of an interesting flip in that. As far as my mentors have both been male, but also at Catch we have a design director who's a female. So that's given me a new perspective, which is really good. I mean, I have obviously faced challenges as a woman in the workforce, but I don't think they're down to being in the tech industry.
Yeah, that's really, really fantastic to hear, and really it's quite heartwarming to hear, because a lot of the stories I hear from women are where they've struggled to have their voices heard, and they've struggled to see other women that they can aspire to be like. So it's great that you have had such a different experience.
Good.
That's really cool. So I guess that leads to my next question, which is, what was the moment or the situation that made you think, yes, this is the industry for me, or this is the job for me? What led to you making that choice?
So I think it's probably from the get-go with one of the first projects I was on. I mean, up until this point, I'd been, as I said, working on marketing design and trying to sell stuff to people. And I was starting to become a little bit less enamored with the idea of that form of design. And so before I was even officially moved into UX UI role, I was given the opportunity to kind of sit in on some project work. And the kind of clients we were working with, for example, Bike Ready, which was Waka Kotahi back in the day, something that they were working on, and then worked a lot with Fire and Emergency to start with. And of course, all of Fire and Emergency, so many volunteers. And what we were doing was trying to enable them to do their job better, or, you know, it wasn't just, here, buy this thing and line the deep pockets of someone, you know. So that was the moment. I just thought it felt more valuable, the kind of work. And it taught me how to think about the people that are interacting with what we do on a whole new level. So that was probably the moment.
If you're an IT professional or aspiring to be one, we encourage you to check us out. As New Zealand's only digital technology industry body who is focused exclusively on the people who work in this industry, we provide a range of resources, events, and networking opportunities to help you grow your career and stay up to date with the latest trends and technologies. Visit our website at itp.nz or flick us an email, info@itp.nz.
That's really cool. Yeah, so you could see the impact as well that you were having of your mahi, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So for anyone out there who's listening to this, who's young and considering a future in a design kind of role like you, or someone who's doing something completely different and thinks they'd like to retrain, what's one piece of advice you'd like to give them?
So I think the key thing that's really favoured me and would favour a lot of people in the tech industry in general, so not just designers but also developers, is to really focus on not just your craft but also your soft skills. So a lot of people can be, you know, wonderful at their craft and what they do, but if you aren't able to then communicate that to people and sell them on your idea, you can kind of fall down a bit, I think, because it's all about the level of trust, I think. So not just clients, but also the other people that you're working with. So that's the advice I would give, is just take every opportunity to work on soft skills, presenting to people. I'm not saying go out there and speak at a conference, but, you know, maybe maybe one day. Yeah, that would be my advice.
And thank you for letting me convince you to come and be on my podcast and give that advice. That's really awesome.
Well, again, this is me taking that opportunity. It's like being presented to me, so jump on it.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. That's good advice. Right, I've got an early question for you. if you could invent something to solve a wicked problem, what wicked problem would you want to solve?
Oh, there are so many. So I'm going to go with two. So right now I think public transport in Wellington is absolutely rubbish. That is a gnarly problem I would love to solve. Everybody can just teleport. No, but more seriously, I think probably the cost of food. So being able to provide, healthy meals to all the children for a good price, because people, it's just ridiculous how much vegetables cost. That's what I would love to solve.
Yeah, it's crazy, eh? And those are both great problems to be solving. So just to talk a little bit about technology, and there's some real changes that are going to change the face of the industry, and I'm sure you're looking at some of those in the kind of the image AI space and the design space. Is there anything that's caught your eye that you've thought is pretty interesting that you're going to be able to embrace, or that you're worried about, that's worth having a discussion on?
Yeah, I mean, obviously everybody's talking about AI at the moment, and especially in our industry and even just in our workplace, it comes up at least once a day. But I think that's one of those things which is both exciting and kind of terrifying for people in our roles. I mean, it's here to stay. We're stuck with AI. It's just going to keep growing and changing. It's not the metaverse. It's not going to just fall flat. And so I think what I'm really interested to see is how we can kind of adapt to it and actually utilize it, rather than just saying, oh, we don't like this, it's going to take our job. But how can we use it in a way that maybe helps us day to day, but doesn't necessarily replace us? Because there's always something. I feel like there's something missing with AI right now as far as what it can achieve, and sure, it'll get better in the future, but I would never expect anybody to ask AI to design a whole website, because you're completely lacking that critical thinking element of it. There's a lot that, we can't just mindlessly let it take control of all of our work, because in the end, it's just going to end up with strange outcomes that don't necessarily help the users. So, yeah, I think finding a way to get ahead of it and bring it into our practices, but in a sensible way, is what I'm kind of thinking.
Yeah, and where it can help improve your productivity is going to be really important, but it's not going to replace that kind of human piece of your role of understanding the motives and drivers and intentions. Yeah, no, that's a really good insight. Good luck with that. And you're right, it's here to stay. Okay, I have some quick fire questions for you. If you had to choose between having a robot assistant running around after you or an AI virtual assistant taking all the pain out of your workload, which one would you pick and why?
That's a tough one, especially after what I just said. Because weirdly, I think I would choose the robot assistant, because I would much rather be left to my own devices to do all of the thinking for myself, but someone can run away and make my dinner. I think that robot assistant.
Fair enough. Good answer. What's the best tech gadget in your life at the moment?
Day to day, my phone, because you can go out somewhere and it's the only thing you need. Like, I play my music, I spend my money, I use my loyalty cards. It's all on one place. So, yeah.
And what's the worst tech gadget in your life?
My Apple mouse, my Magic Mouse, because I had to charge it yesterday and you can't use it while it's charging.
Oh, wow, that's really interesting. You should get a paired one like I've got, because you can use it while you're charging. That's awesome.
Yep, it's a poor design from Apple.
Yeah, fair enough. And what's your top tech tip that you tend to give people?
I think in terms of your workflow, don't try and do everything yourself, because if there's something out there that you find is painful or difficult, someone's probably already solved a way to, speed it up. So find the right tools, whether it's something to help with running user testing or prototyping or color contrast checking. There are tools for everything. So I would say, do a bit of research, get some tools.
Fair enough. Are you a person who will doom scroll, or do you shut it all down?
Shut it all down.
Fair enough.
I never even look at the news.
Wow. Social media? Do you follow things?
Yeah.
And finally, what makes you happy?
Being with my family makes me happy. Reading a good book, and I would say getting a job well done.
Cool. Nice. That sounds really lovely. So you work for Catch. Do you want to give us a little bit of info about them and where people can find more about where you work?
For sure. Yeah. So shout out to my team at Catch Design. We're both Wellington and Auckland based design and development agency. I work with a small group of really talented individuals. So if you want to get in touch or check out who we are, you can go to catchdesign.co.nz. I'll specifically ask you, if you want to, look at our team page, meet the team. And when you click on a person's face, just drag it slightly and you'll get a bit of a surprise on the photos. Yeah.
Nice. Well, that's a great tip. Okay, well, thank you so much for your time today, Dani. Really appreciate you coming on the podcast and telling us about being a designer. It was awesome.
No worries. Thanks, Vic.
Kia pai tō rā. Thank you for listening. Join me at the next episode of Bridging the Gap.